you discuss your life and you analyze it very deeply. And
At 91 years old, Sophia Loren has nothing left to prove, yet she has finally decided to reveal a truth she kept buried for more than 6 decades. Her life has been a tapestry of beauty, war, heartbreak, scandal, triumph, and unimaginable resilience. But there is one story she never told in full. One man she never truly spoke about, one co-star whose brilliance, darkness, and inner turmoil left a deeper mark on her than Hollywood ever knew. Today, for the first time, the last surviving queen of the Golden Age is breaking her silence, not to create drama, not to rewrite history, but to finally give voice to a memory she carried quietly for most of her life. Because before we can understand the truth about George Peppard, we must return to the place where Sophia Loren's journey truly began, the war-torn streets of Naples, where a legend was born from hunger and fire. Sophia Loren's story begins long before Hollywood, long before the world called her a goddess, long before she became the living definition of European cinema. Her journey started in the ruins of war, Naples, early 1940s, when bombs were louder than lullabies and hunger became the only language children understood. Sophia, then just Sophia Villani Schiccolone, grew up with a mother who believed her daughter was destined for greatness, and a father who refused to acknowledge her. It was a childhood filled with shame, resilience, and a determination that would one day change global cinema. Sophia was painfully thin, sickly, and shy, a far cry from the breathtaking woman she would become. Neighbors sometimes whispered that she looked like a scared little bird, but even then, she possessed something extraordinary, an inner presence, a magnetic pull, a pair of dark eyes that could swallow an entire room. In bomb shelters, people would stare at her without knowing why. She wasn't beautiful yet, but she was unforgettable. As Sophia grew older, war's devastation etched itself into her personality. She learned to endure, to fight quietly, to survive without complaint. These traits would later fascinate directors, especially Vittorio De Sica, who saw in her a raw emotional depth unmatched by any other actress of her time. At 15, she entered a local beauty contest, not expecting to win, but desperate for a chance to escape poverty. She didn't win first place. But something else happened that changed her life forever. She caught the attention of a powerful film producer, Carlo Ponti. Their connection was immediate and electric. He saw beyond her awkward teenage frame and recognized the star struggling to break free inside her. Ponti refined her voice, posture, confidence. He secured her first small roles, and as Italy rebuilt itself, Sophia rebuilt her identity, slowly shedding the girl from the war-torn streets and becoming a woman with international magnetism. By her early 20s, she was no longer the skinny girl from Naples. She was Sophia Loren, mysterious, smoldering, powerful, undeniable. Hollywood took notice. But as her career exploded, another life-changing chapter began, one built on triumph, heartbreak, and the kind of artistic chemistry that would define her legacy. And that chapter led her straight to some of the most complicated men she would ever meet, one of them being George Peppard. When Sophia Loren arrived in Hollywood, directors weren't quite sure what to do with her. She wasn't like the other starlets, blonde, polished, predictable. She smoldered instead of sparkled. She spoke with a hypnotic Italian accent. She had a volcanic emotional intensity that made American actresses seem timid by comparison. Hollywood had never seen anything like her. Her breakthrough came with films such as Houseboat, where she starred opposite Cary Grant, and Arabesque, a stylish thriller that showcased her elegance and wit. But her most iconic work remained with Italian cinema. Her collaboration with Marcello Mastroianni became the stuff of legend. Together they created an emotional language on screen, two souls dancing between desire, heartbreak, humor, and melancholy. It wasn't romantic love, but it was something deeper. Cinematic chemistry so powerful it felt almost spiritual. In 1961, Sophia stunned the world by winning an Academy Award for Two Women. It was the first time in history an Oscar had been awarded for a performance entirely in a foreign language. Hollywood realized that Loren wasn't just beautiful, she was devastatingly talented, capable of moving audiences to tears with a single glance. But fame came with storms. Sophia's relationship with Carlo Ponti sparked controversy across Italy. He was married. Divorce was illegal. The Catholic Church condemned them. Newspapers attacked them. She was accused of destroying his family, being immoral, being too young, too seductive, too ambitious. At one point, the Vatican threatened criminal charges. Sophia endured it all with quiet strength. She loved Ponti, and he loved her. They married secretly, annulled, remarried abroad, fought governments, fought courts, fought public opinion, until finally, decades later, Italy legalized divorce and recognized their union. While her personal life stabilized, her professional life soared. Sophia alternated between glamorous Hollywood productions and gritty Italian dramas. She became an icon across continents, the essence of Mediterranean femininity. But even as she worked with powerful men, confident men, charming men, there was one actor who intrigued her in a completely different way, a man whose brilliance was matched only by his inner shadows. A man Sophia described as talented but tortured. George Peppard. Their paths would cross during the height of her fame, and while she admired him deeply, she also saw something tragic in him, something she would not speak of publicly until she was 91. George Peppard was already a rising name in Hollywood when Sophia met him in the early 1960s. He had the lean physique of a leading man, the blue eyes of a matinee idol, and a seriousness that set him apart from the typical studio-made stars. After his success in Breakfast at Tiffany's, he was considered one of the most promising dramatic actors of his generation. But Sophia saw something behind the charm, something darker, more wounded. She described him as a man at war with himself. Peppard was disciplined to the point of obsession. He wanted perfection in every line, every scene, every expression. Directors admired his dedication but feared his temper. He challenged scripts, rewrote dialogue, argued with producers, and pushed co-stars to their emotional limits. He wasn't trying to be difficult, he was trying to be great. But his intensity cost him friendships and opportunities. Sophia remembered long conversations between takes. Peppard speaking thoughtfully about literature, politics, philosophy. He wasn't superficial, he wasn't empty. He was deep, intelligent, and searching for something he could never quite find. But he was also self-destructive. Alcohol fueled his worst impulses. Studio pressure fueled his paranoia. Fame magnified his insecurities. Hollywood labeled him difficult. Sophia saw something else entirely. A man who felt too deeply, believed too purely, and suffered too silently. He had the potential to be a second Marlon Brando, she said, but he carried too much weight inside him. Peppard's career declined as quickly as it rose. Roles dried up. His personal life crumbled. And yet, Sophia never forgot him, even decades later, when asked about him at age 91. Her voice softened, her eyes dimmed with memory. There was a sadness in George, she finally admitted. A sadness he tried to hide, but you could always feel. She wasn't speaking as a co-star. She was speaking as a woman who had lived long enough to recognize a wounded soul. And for Sophia Loren, who had survived war, scandal, heartbreak, and fame, George Peppard remained one of the few people she wished life had been kinder to. In the quiet glow of her 91st year, Sophia Loren no longer speaks like a movie star. She speaks like a woman who has lived through every shade of human experience. And when she finally broke her silence about George Peppard, it wasn't to expose him, or criticize him, or rewrite the past. It was to honor him, to acknowledge a man the world never fully understood, a man whose brilliance and fragility were forever intertwined. Sophia survived war, scandal, heartbreak, the loss of her great love Carlo Ponti, and the relentless demands of global fame. She learned, over many decades, that the world sees only the surface, but true character lives beneath the shadows. And that is why her words about Peppard matter. She saw through the armor he built. She recognized the wounded boy inside the confident leading man. She understood the loneliness behind the sharp tongue, the longing behind the anger, the genius behind the self-destruction. At 91, Loren speaks with a clarity that only time can give. George had so much inside him, but he never knew how to let it out gently. In that single sentence, she gives him what Hollywood never did, compassion. Her confession is not about nostalgia. It is about forgiveness. It is about finally telling the truth with tenderness instead of judgment. It is the reflection of a woman who has outlived an entire generation of icons and now feels the weight of preserving their stories. And perhaps that is the most beautiful part of her revelation. Sophia Loren, the last surviving queen of the Golden Age, chooses not to remember George Peppard for his struggles, but for his soul. Because in the end, greatness is not measured by fame or longevity, but by the hearts that choose to understand us long after we're gone.